Check this.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Be Encouraged. Haven't made it in. Sorry for the production quality. The sound might be a little tinny because I'm using the laptop microphone. I did not get out of the house fast enough today to get to the good stuff, the good equipment and stuff. And besides that, look, we have a happy birthday here. It's my wife's 50th birthday. I shouldn't tell anybody, but it is. And she is made it half a century. So yes, thank you, DP. Today's the day. Got a big fitty over here, big fitty on the wall. My daughter did all the decorations for her mommy.
Happy half 100. That's weird.
Half 100. That's right. Half a Benjamin.
Yeah, happy half 100. Man.
How are you doing today, my good friend?
I am good. I've been so busy.
I bet, man. Hey, you're a radio station owner.
Yeah.
And the host.
Yeah, and the host and a producer, and we're dealing with all hands on deck anyway while we're still manual. And then national TV and ABC comes to town for the Michigan game. So it's been crazy week, and then tomorrow starts the Chamber of Commerce convention. So there's next couple.
Was
days.
game day in Lincoln yesterday? I mean Saturday.
Game day was not. Everybody else was. Yeah, game day wasn't, but every other peripheral, Big Ten Network was here, and Fox was here. So yeah, it's exhausting. I don't know if you saw, they went, Todd Blackledge, when he goes into a town, does a taste of the town, and he picked my buddy's restaurant, Muchachos, Yo-Yo Muchachos, which is this amazing barbecue Mexican blend, and it's just incredible just to do it. So it was good to get that exposure, and yeah, it was a busy week. It was exhausting, but you get through it. I think those are the weekends why you do this. Like, if you don't enjoy weekends like that, you're in the wrong business.
Well, I saw pictures, and I saw you running the crowd, and yeah, you looked like you were in full effect. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So we do those type of remotes for every home game. So we're at the same restaurant. We're on their patio. It's elevated, so we're kind of above everybody else. We'll bring T-shirts and stuff to throw out to the folks, and so I'm throwing them around. And there's a car sitting at the stoplight. It's just sitting at the stoplight, and it's convertible, top down, and the driver's waving, and he's probably 25, 30 yards away. And we have the shirts balled up and rolled up and with a rubber band around them, and I simply flick the wrist, and I hit the driver in the chest. And everybody goes bananas, and I went, okay, well, I'm not throwing any more of these because I can't do any better than what I just did.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
No one to hold them, no one to fold them.
Hey, man, it was like, they're impressed now, so we'll stop. I'll hand out the rest of these, and we'll move along. So it was a good day. It's always cool to have like the alumni band marching by, and
yeah.
See all the former Husker greats, guys like Eric Crouch, and those guys are all Jason Peter, Jay Foreman, of course, who I work with on a daily basis. But it's cool to watch the Huskers come in, and Michigan represented well. So it was a very good weekend.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds like you guys played Michigan well. I mean, they won, but Michigan's, I think, a pretty good team this year. So
Yeah. Well, they're ranked number 9 coming in. They're undefeated, on top of the Big Ten conference.
Yeah.
Nebraska's set itself up, that they've done well. They've played Oklahoma, Michigan State, uh, and Michigan 3 of the last 4 games. All top 10 teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Top 10 teams, and it doesn't get any easier. Like they got Minnesota this week, which is a matchup nightmare. They get a bye week, and then Ohio State, and then Wisconsin and Iowa. Like it's like you're in the so you
Come
better
back to the Big 12. Come
you're-
back to the Big 12.
well, the Big 12 won't exist. That's
I know it's not. I know.
like it won't exist. So
That was my conference, man,
well, but in the Big
back
Ten,
in the day.
that 50 million cash means a lot, right? That the Big Ten drops. Look, it's a big boy conference like the SEC. You know what you get here. You have to get better, and they're showing progress. They're just not making big plays when they need to at end of games, and that's a part of the learn process.
Do you think that has to? Do you think that has to do with maybe another recruiting class? Maybe
Well,
or get them where they need to be.
No, because this group is pretty mature. They've got a bunch of super seniors, guys who have an extra year due to COVID. Yeah, they're veteran. And Adrian Martinez has been a starter since the moment he got here on campus. You just
Mhm.
the quote is the most difficult thing to do in all of sports is finish. And you have to learn how to finish games. You have to learn to do the small stuff in abundance so that you finish games, which is attention to detail, taking care of the ball, being in the right place, having the right personnel on the field, right play call. Like those things, they seem simple, they seem like it should be easy, but great teams know how to do it. Everybody else needs to figure it out.
Right. Well, here's to the Huskers. Listen, let's talk a little bit about because it seems to be, and I hate to be the person that I want people to be encouraged today.
Okay.
So let's talk about how do you as a coach, how do you encourage your players when they're just at that edge of success, but they get these demoralizing defeats? What do you do, Derek, with your guys? To the kids, do you take them out on a pizza party, or do you put them in the weight room? I mean, and I know it does depend on the kids and the group that you have. I get that. I know I've coached myself, and I know sometimes you just need to go to the weight room, and you need to just get in there together and see who can lift the most weight, and have a competition and get this whole hoorah thing going on. What's your go-to, Derek?
Well, I like to teach. I like to coach. And in moments of stress, there's a coaching adage that I use is that when chaos happens, slow down, and chaos ceases to exist.
Okay.
That's purposeful in life. That when things get crazy and out of control, the best thing you can do is just pause and allow that thing to settle into its natural space and place. For athletes, for me, and usually it didn't matter what sport it was, whether football, baseball, basketball, track, or otherwise. Sometimes the classroom is the classroom. Sometimes the field's the classroom, but sometimes the classroom's the classroom. And film study often can point out something that you can say to a player, and they don't get it until they see it. And you have to see it en masse. The rule about if I'm coaching one player, I'm coaching them all. And if I can get them in a space where I have their attention, and tough losses are the great attention grabbers for all athletes. Where you've blocked out the lessons and you're just out there playing and you forget a small detail. Well, taking a football team back into the classroom with film study, taking them back into a classroom and having a conversation about the things that need to get better, not things that need to change, not things that they need to do. The rule is that in close games, the coach has to get better. The coach has to get better, not the players. I'm not going to put that on the players. I need to better prepare them to do the small things required for them to start and finish games. That's the easy way, is to say, I have to do better about preparing you for those moments. So we can go through those moments. We can mentally check in. We can ask them what they're thinking about during those times. What were you thinking in this play? And often in that is an answer, and that's where growth happens. It's great. You can go throw around weights, but you still haven't fixed what got you beat. Very rarely is it strength that got you beat. Usually, it's the mental that gets you beat.
Sure.
It's fatigue that gets you beat. Maybe the conditioning needs to change, and the conditioning can simply be, without me making you run steps or running striders. It can be the mental fatigue
Mm.
of having somebody lean on you, and then the pressure moment where you're not sure about what you should do in those moments versus actually knowing what you should do in those moments. And then those conversations happen. Nebraska's a quarterback that is trying to get a first down on a big drive to put the ball game away. He extends it, gets loose with it, stops playing. Everybody else keeps playing. He stopped playing because he thought the play would be blown dead. He gets stripped, and now he understands that playing through the whistle means playing through the whistle, and that, like, not playing up to the whistle or when you think you hear a whistle. Play until you have the whistle. Trusting the process, and then having communication. Just really getting together again so that you can start over again. That's important no matter what.
I noticed this yesterday, and also on Sunday. Now, yesterday was a crazy game last night. I mean, that was really. I mean, when you got Lamar putting it on the floor and still somehow being able to. I mean, that was an amazing game last night that I watched. I just watched the second half and was like, wow.
He's, he's Superman.
He really is. He really is. And the thing that the question, and it's so great to see him when something like that happens, adversity. He's like, okay, I get the ball back in my hands. We're good. And the defense knows that too. Defense knows, all right, we get the ball back in his hands. He'll make something happen, and that's always great for your morale and stuff and the team cohesiveness. But what I want you to speak to for me, and for those watching, is when you have these little mental burps, and you don't, and I mean in a way that let yourself get angry, and then you make stupid plays and you hit somebody the wrong way, or you hit somebody, as you said, you play to the whistle, but you don't play after the whistle, and Sunday I saw several. These are professionals also. I give a little bit to the college guys because they're not professionals, even though they are borderline professionals. But the discipline should definitely be there as a professional. And I see these guys losing their discipline, and how do you? My whole thing with kids, and with their just even walking through the schools, like Chip Baker, he and I did the same kind of job, and is telling kids, don't take things personal. It's, you play to the play, and when the whistle blows, it's over. I mean, there's no more. That guy can jaw at you all he wants, and you just smile at him and say, whatever, dude. How do you get to that point, Derek? You know what I'm talking about, right? You understand what I'm talking about?
The discipline is
Mental discipline.
well, it's measured because you continually scheme, practice, and repetition everything that's going to happen in a game day. There's nothing that happens on a game day that is a first time situation if you're well coached. So then I ask people when they get emotional, what part of practice did we practice that? At what point did we say that's we were going to throw our helmets? Like, show me the day that we had helmet throwing practice. Show me the day that we had punching helmets day. Like, show me the day when we practiced swinging at opponents. Show me the day where we practice, smack talking. All of that stuff is a part of the process, and you have to go through and do it in order. You have to remind people that's the moment you get into a me thing versus a we thing, then you're being selfish, and selfish hurts. Selfish always hurts. I don't blame people for games and mistakes. Don't do that because nobody does it on purpose. Like, nobody does it. But what you can address is, okay, what did we say about you getting to the ground and full control of the ball? That removes the whole fumbling thing. Throwing an interception into double coverage. Okay, what's the rule here? What should we do here? And if making that throw was what we agreed to, okay, then you just made a bad throw and we're okay with it. But if you threw into a double coverage when we said we don't throw into double coverage, then that's a whole different discussion. And it's still okay. It's a lesson rather than a thing past that. It's all just continual teaching and lessons, reminders of, okay, here's what we do. Here's what we do in this situation, not here's what me do. And that simplifies a whole lot of it.
Yeah, you got to turn that M upside down, and that's where we need to be.
Yeah.
Right?
The basketball program, which I've been hanging out with as they prepare for their season, their entire mantra is "We is greater than me," and it's important. Like, it's important that you have to start together, finish together, and in between stay together. Like, all that stuff is in play, and throwing a helmet is a disconnect. That's disconnecting from the game plan. It's disconnecting from the mission. Throwing a punch is disconnecting from the team, right? You made it about you, and it was never about you. Like, it was never about you. So
Right.
that's the easiest way for me, is to constantly teach and remind of, here's what we do in these situations. If you know what you do in those situations, there's no excuse.
Yeah. No, I get it. I just had this vision though today. Just now also, Derek, for some warm up shirts for the team that say "we" with the big, the big greater than me.
No, they have those already. They
Oh,
actually
okay.
have those. Yeah, they
I know
have those.
with 93.7 across the top.
Yeah, no, that's the team. The team, that's the basketball team. That's theirs. It's good to know that that's what they're working from, and that's what they're working for. So, which gives me greater hope that they'll do well, is because if you're going to play unselfishly and practice unselfishly and work unselfishly, unselfish things happen.
Yeah. That should be like, though, when you talk about things like that, when one team kind of develops a mantra that works really good and is really powerful, that needs to be an athletic department thing. Everybody needs to grasp that and say, yes, it is we versus me, and that goes across the board to everybody. And share that with your girls teams, your guys football, your women's volleyball. I mean, that's, to me, and we all know that we is greater than me. But that's a great little slogan that would be a fantastic Husker slogan, for instance. And I know other teams do it too, but I'd love to see teams. I'd love to see organizations be more cohesive and working. And I love watching the Olympics when the volleyball teams playing and the men's basketball teams in the stands watching the game.
They're
That's
really
exciting.
Yeah, Nebraska's really good about basketball players supporting football players and baseball players supporting, basketball players. Like, they're really good about cross appreciation for one another. Each program has its own personality, its own style.
That's true. That's true.
Husker Power is kind of their thing that they run across all athletic teams and programs. And that our red burns brighter is another one that goes across all the programs, because it means, I mean, if it burns brighter, it has to run deeper. And they're aware of the meaning and of what it is. The black shirts in football have their own place and their own space. And when you watch Nebraska football games, you'll see players and fans crossing their arms, right? And that is a togetherness of throwing the bones of the mighty black shirts back in the Tom Osborne days. Those defenses where you had to earn a black shirt at practice. It wasn't given to you. You had to earn it. You had to be an exceptional defender in order to do that. The offensive players can't be black shirts. So they have their things that move the needle, and they're great reminders, and they're an homage to the best times of the program.
Yeah.
So they're aware. They do a really good job of promoting that stuff within the program.
That's cool. And I love that. And everybody loves that kind of stuff. The fans get into it. It gets them excited, and it gets the players excited. The players, a lot of times the players don't want to admit what gets them hyped, but there's things that really hype up players and get them focused. You don't want to hype up and not be focused. But that's what we're talking about. The mental game, like you had alluded to earlier, and we want to move forward with that. That's such a big part of, getting ready for playing every day, every game, every down, every second, is knowing who you are, what you're supposed to be doing, and what part of the team is your job. And
players don't panic if they know what they're supposed to do, Lee. Like the panic comes when you're in a situation where you are unfamiliar with your responsibility or task, and then whether you're comfortable in the fact that that thing can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to cover this guy. Can I do that? Do I have proof that I can do that? Do I have the help to do that? It could be a little dude having to block a big dude. Unless he's sure that he can do that, there is going to be some anxiety. Like, that's just the way it is. And yes, if you've run it at practice and he ran it against somebody that was 200 pounds versus him, the 300-pound dude that he's actually going to have to do it against on Sunday or Saturday in the game, he's not going to be as comfortable because it's not similar. You have to put people in situations where they can succeed, and they know they can succeed. That's
right.
That's the whole. Really, for me, that's the move behind coaching.
Yeah. I mean, you got to put him up against the 400-pound guy if he's going against a 300-pound guy.
Amen.
In practice.
Hey man, put him up against two dudes so he can practice getting beating the one.
Getting beat up. He got to beat him up all week so he can beat up somebody on Sunday or Saturday.
Well, like in basketball, I would always run our offense against 6 defenders. Cool. I would run our press break against six people in the press, because if we can beat 6 and the rules still apply, then we should be able to beat 5. Like, that's really what that is. Sometimes putting yourself at disadvantage makes you better, and it reiterates the rules for what you should do, and that should get you through. Yep.
And it translates to any sport. We do the small-sided games, and I have 5-on-4. And I put the 4 are my starters, 5 are my guys that are, or the defender, whatever. But you're right, absolutely. You put them against more than they think they can chew, and then when they realize they can chew it, then they go, hey, I got this, man. And I know how to hold the ball. I know how to, keep from letting people take it from me. And that was the other one we used to do. I'd send a ball down the middle and put 2 guys on it. Go get it. Whoever gets control of it and can then cross it, That's what I want. That's what I want to see. Who's got the guts to make the play, and who can make the play. And and a lot of times it's very cerebral. When you think it's a physical thing, it's not a physical thing. You got to putting yourself in the position is mental. Putting yourself where are you supposed to be, and that's the coach's job, is to teach you where you're supposed to be. And that's the preparation part of it. And that's why they have so many people say, how come they got so many coaches? Well, you got to have coaches that are constantly, repetitively teaching the same thing. Those coaches meet together to decide what is it we need to do with this player? What is it we need to do with this player? Because we know as a coaching staff, for the good coaching staffs, that every player is different. And every player reacts differently to certain input and stimulus. And so you have to know how to deal with each individual. When you're a coach and you treat everybody the same, not everybody learns the same. We know that from the classroom. Not everybody, we're starting to learn that in the classroom. When I was in the classroom, it was, let's teach everybody the exact same way. And the ones who fall off, oh, well, and the ones who succeed, hey, we're a success. That's how that used to work back when we were kids, you and I both. And I remember that it was a terrible for me. But I also look at guys who were one of my favorite players, like Cordell Stewart. And you got a young man who has so much talent, and you put him with 8 different offensive coordinators in 8 years. I mean, how, with 8 different game plans, and they're making the game plan and trying to teach him how to do the game plan. No, you design the game plan around what he knows how to do. I mean, that's coaching 101, Derek. It drives me nuts when they do this to these kids, when they try and tell these kids, you learn how to do it. I know you can run fast, but we want you to start doing more of the, route running. Well, they're fly guys. I mean, they're guys who can take off and beat everybody. And, we could go into examples, Derek, all day long. And I know you've met a million players, and they're all different. They all take a little bit. That's what makes coaching so exciting for me, is that I get to try all kinds of different things with all kinds of different players and motivate them in so many different ways. You can't just be one hoorah guy.
Yeah, being present is what we say to each other as coaches. Just be present. That some kids may need a pat on the back, some might need a kick in the pants. We always tell parents when we first get their players that the thought that we treat all players equal, or we don't have favorite players, is simply not true. It's a wonderful thing to say, but the reality is the people that we trust to show up on time, to do the job, to be respectful, to check all the boxes. The people who check the boxes for us, we trust. And that's really what that is. And the trust is earned, not given. So you've got to make sure that all the little stuff is done. Yeah, I'm not going to ask an elephant to fit in a frog's space. That there's a difference between that. Like, I understand that a giraffe is going to interact differently than a cheetah. And for me to ask them to do what the other does would be silly. So in coaching, you have to understand who your people are, what kind of athletes they are, and then what you're asking them to do in the system that you're asking. Success happens when you're present. Just be present and see what you have, understand the talent you're dealing with, and then put them in the best situation for success.
I remember one of my favorite lines, as Jimmy Johnson, somebody said, do you treat all your players the same? He said, hell no. He said, if Emmitt Smith comes to me and says he needs a day off, he's got a day off. If a rookie comes to me and says he needs a day off, I said, hell no, you're not getting a day off. Get to work. You know?
Well, I always laughed at that because I said, well, what if the rookie was Emmitt Smith?
Well,
Well, if you get it wrong, that's the thing. If you get that wrong, you keep that rookie from becoming Emmitt Smith. So you have to be really specific and really careful.
Yeah.
It's all within the details. Like, don't stop rookie Troy Aikman from becoming veteran Troy Aikman by not approaching him the same way.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got you. Okay. I'll go with that. I understand where Jimmy's coming from, and I understand where you're coming from
I
too.
absolutely
So,
understand them both.
yeah, absolutely. My good friend. God bless you. Thank you. Go 93.7. You keep rocking it, my friend. And we'll see you next week. God bless you. Thanks for being on, as always.
Thank you.
You're a joy. Peace. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, today, whatever it is. It's night, day, time, whatever. You're watching it, wherever you're watching it at whatever time. I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks a lot.